welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Old. Your hosts, Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello there.
Right, so we are doing Daisy Daisy. Now, the last Daisy Daisy was my choice, and it was Sweeney Todd, the Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter. Helena Bonham Carter was the lead-in for that, wasn't it? From Wallace and Gromit. So this was your choice. Going off of Johnny Depp, right? Or was it Tim Burton?
It was Johnny Depp.
Okay,
the one I did.
cool.
But because it's kind of weird because a lot of the choices with Johnny Depp also have Helena Bonham Carter in.
Yeah, and the Tim Burton. Right, as well.
So
I mean, there's some great ones, isn't there? I mean, Ed Wood and Sleepy Hollow and so on. But Edward Scissorhands, unusual choice. I'm trying to remember where that is in his filmography. It's fairly early, isn't it? But
I think
after Batman
film. No, I think
Pee-wee's. Pee-wee's Big Adventures.
It was Pee-wee, Beetlejuice, Batman, then Edward Scissorhands,
and then Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Which thematically not thematically. Some of the scenes are quite similar, especially around snow and the music and stuff like that, because it was Elfman as well, right? So lots of connective tissue here. So come out in 1990. It is Johnny Depp's the main character, Edward Scissorhands, Winona Ryder, Diane Wiest. Diane Wiest.
Yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall, who was channeling for me Biff from Back to the Future, frankly.
Was ironic considering his other major role. So
he was what was it? It was
he was the nerd in Breakfast Club.
Yeah, but it was also wasn't he one of the kids in Weird Science as well?
Yeah.
A nerd in that. Vincent Price's last film role. And Alan Arkin too. We haven't seen much of, and I really like Alan Arkin and stuff, so it was good to see him. So basically, it's kind of a goth stroke nerd wet dream almost. Some of this film, it is. Goths are brilliant, right?
Yeah, it's kind of it's not really got a plot as such. It's just kind of a weird sort of flowing sequence of events.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen this all the way through before. I could be wrong. I've definitely seen large parts of it, but I just couldn't remember the entire story. But I enjoyed it. What did you think of it? You've seen it before, right?
No, this is the first time I've seen it.
Okay, so I think this is the first time I've seen it all the way through.
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was okay. I think of the Tim Burton films I've seen, it might be only above Willy Wonka.
Really? That bad? Yeah. That bad? Well, it's above. It's above. I think there's probably other Burton films that are a little worse than this. Yeah. However, I quite liked it as a film. It just was very slight. His other films are much more engaging, in my opinion. Yeah. An interesting choice, though. And there was some really nice... I have to say, I heard Johnny Depp was quite good. It's quite different from anything else I've seen him in.
Yeah, it's weird seeing him in this compared to his more physical roles like Jack Sparrow. Yeah. Where he's constantly got he always seems to have a distinctive walk when he plays a character.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I didn't really notice that. But, if you consider his other Burton film, obviously Sweeney Todd, Ed Wood, Sleepy Hollow. I mean, this is their first collaboration. And obviously, Johnny Depp then became a muse for Tim Burton, right? As did Helena Bonham Carter somewhat. Though I think they're a couple now, aren't they, Helena Bonham?
I think they were a couple.
They were for a time. And of course, Winona Ryder, we also have seen things like Beetlejuice, right? So there's a touch of that. Quite liked it. One thing that really struck me while I was watching it is, God, it reminded me of the Cat in the Hat movie.
There is a reason for that. There's something I know.
Oh, okay. It felt like Cat in the Hat was basically ripping this off left, right, and centre. Right?
Kind of.
Yeah, go on. Tell us the reason, because I don't know.
Okay, so the production designer, Bo Welch, he did a lot of Tim Burton films. Yeah, he's basically kind of establishes the look of Tim Burton. Almost. Directed Cat in the Hat.
Oh, well, that explains that. I mean, this also did look a bit like some other Tim Burton films. It definitely looked like Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
I feel like they were riffing a lot off of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So it was kind of
cool. Burton
cool.
loves that sort of weird 50s suburbia. Well, I guess Welch likes that.
That's interesting because he shares that with like David Lynch, right? Yeah, it's kind of cool. And it says here on Wikipedia, both Burton and Elfman consider Edward Scissorhands their most personal and favourite work.
Okay.
Which is interesting. This is probably the closest he got to something autobiographical. Well, not autobiographical. You know what I mean? Channeling what he wanted to talk about.
Symbolically, it's autobiographical.
Yeah, it's. I mean, overcoming the nerds, getting the girl. Even though you're weird, stuff like that.
He only stabbed 3 people. So
I also felt there was a touch of the German expressionism by way of the Universal Frankenstein films in some of the. Certainly.
This is very much like it was an off-screen Frankenstein movie.
It is
all the stuff with Vincent Price and his weird people machines. That's just Frankenstein.
He makes humanoids, or he makes
he prints. He makes robots and just sort of machines that look like vaguely people. So instead of it could just be like a conveyor belt. No, there's got to be some legs that are like running. And they are moving the conveyor.
Yeah,
it doesn't move on wheels. So.
I thought those bits were really cool. I really like that, and I think it probably won some awards for production design and art design. I imagine. Okay, so it's set in like this suburban place where it's not having a go at suburbia. It's just presenting it as a bit weird and uniform and odd, right? So basically, Diane Weist, Peg Boggs, played by Diane Weist. Sort of
is door-to-door Avon saleswoman.
Doing absolutely rubbish, because people just not. I'm not buying this stuff. And she even one teenage girl's kind of interested. She said, "Oh, well, which one do you think you prefer?" She's like, "I haven't got any money," stuff like that. So she goes to the mansion on the hill kind of thing.
The Addams family mansion.
Basically. And she finds this boy, this Edward Scissorhands, right?
Yeah.
Who seems to be very everyone thinks, apart from his hands, he's like a person, but he's a creation, isn't he? And it's interesting
that he kind of looks like he's been printed going by the machines.
Yeah, he's almost in black and white, right?
Yeah.
Also, I like the bit we see a bit where like a book. It's quite a good way of conveying what's going on. There's a book with the pages turning in the wind, and we see a robot who looks a bit more, and then the pages turn. It looks a bit more like Edwards is that. And as we're going on, you see the different stages of his building rework. I don't know, versioning, and then the final page is him as a full human. But the page before is what we find, right? The man with Scissorhands, Edward Scissorhands. She
basically
takes him home.
Brings him home. She's like, "Oh God, what is this place you're living in? Because it's open to the air. It's like so ruined. There's nothing really there." So she brings him home and basically is like, "Okay, you sleep in my daughter's room for now because she's away." And
he keeps making mistakes with his scissor hat, like sticking a hole in the waterbed when he first encounters it, things like that. He's a bit clumsy sometimes, but sometimes he's very deft with the scissor hands.
There's a funny bit where they dress him up and he's got suspenders, and he does the thing where he pulls them out with his thumbs to snap them. And it just cuts him, and he's just sort of stood there.
But the dad is also perfectly welcoming, played by Alan Arkin, Bill. But he's always going on about business and making money, even though he admits he doesn't know any of this stuff. He just thinks everyone should know this kind of stuff. And they've got a younger son, young teenager, Kevin. And basically, I mean, he can talk.
Kind of
but it's almost like Apparently, Johnny Depp watched quite a bit of Charlie Chaplin in preparation for this, and you can kind of see there's a bit of almost silent comedy acting in his role. It's Buster Keaton-ish.
Yeah.
And while he does talk, he is not
it's
like
always
he
very
can have
stilted and quiet.
Yeah, and he makes sense when he talks. He's not talking nonsense, but he barely responds. Right, he barely responds. Let's put it that way. But when
he is seemingly just learning how to talk.
Yeah, and weirdly though, when this woman turns up, Peg comes back with Edward's hand. All the sort of middle-aged women of the neighbourhood take a massive interest. Like they all fancy.
They'll immediately go for this kid.
And there's one in particular that makes me laugh, who is basically channeling Peg Bundy. It felt like.
Yes.
She looked like Peg Bundy.
I think she was Joyce. Was the character
Joyce Monroe? Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Joyce.
But
she's
a
nightmare.
Yeah, she was. It did look like Peg Bundy, right?
Yeah.
It's like Tim Burton must have watched Married with Children, or someone did. Was the feeling I got from that. And she in particular is hot for Edward. Let's put it that way. Meanwhile, Kim is also going out with Biff.
His name's Jim, but it's Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah. He's quite good. He's quite good at it, but he's very Biff-like. Very Biff-like.
Yeah, for example, we get introduced to him, and he's kind of immediately a piece of shit.
Yes.
He just kind of aggressively invites himself into their house. Oh no, wait, sorry, I'm skipping ahead a bit.
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll jump around.
So he's just like overly aggressive at all times towards Ed.
Yeah, the thing with this is there's not much plot to this film, right? So
it's really kind of any one of the. It could be a TV series.
I mean, there's two major phases where everyone kind of likes Edward, and then everyone except the family turn against him. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And he basically starts showing his skills, because he's very deft with the fingers sometimes, and other times not. Yeah. But he starts just trimming the hedges, right, and creating these quite wonderful topiary. And then we get a whole neighbourhood has loads of topiary of people running and ducks and things like that. And they're all really taken with him. The women in particular. We don't see much of the men. There's a bit, and they're all
mostly
a bit
the housewives.
Yeah, I feel like a bit of an influence of this. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but at the beginning of The Graduate, right, Dustin Hoffman's a student who's very quiet and unassuming, but all the men are trying to sort of say, "Well, what career is going to?" And one will come up to him and say, "I got one word for you: plastics." And he's like, "Okay." But if you watch the beginning of The Graduate, you'll see what I mean. There's a touch of that about it too, which only just occurred to me as I was talking about it. But yeah, it definitely feels a bit like that. But we get some comedy stuff with his fingers, like for example, there's a barbecue and all the food is on shish kebabs on his fingers. Like sausages and peppers and all sorts.
Everything. And they're constantly just this is the only bit where we actually see a lot of the husbands. They're just kind of making jokes about the scissors. We'll invite you to cards, but you can't be the one that cuts.
He just laughs. He's a very unassuming person, is Edward. In many respects, he almost hasn't got a personality. It almost feels like that, right? The only trait you can recognise about him is he is besotted with Winona Ryder, Kim, in this. When he encounters her. And the first encounter's quite funny.
Yeah.
It's funny, yeah.
She I guess they're coming home from some sort of gig or thing they've been doing out in the woods somewhere.
It's just Edward's lying on the bed. She does she go and put some face cream on, or
she goes to get ready for bed, but she sits at her dresser and she sees him looking at her in the mirror from the bed. And when she screams, he panics and starts thrashing about and slices up her waterbed. So he just kind of sinks and disappears into the blankets.
And there's water spraying all over the walls.
Yeah. And then she runs out, like, oh, there's a monster. And like, he kind of comes sort of like waddling out, covered in water.
Yeah.
And like the dad just sort of kind of grabs him and slowly walks him back into the bathroom so they can dry him off.
One character that did make me laugh was one woman who wasn't taken with him. There was one who was like this religious nut, sat in her house playing an organ in front of a massive lit up cross. Warning everyone about sin and stuff like that, which felt a bit Stephen King. Actually, there was a touch of it. I thought she was going to play a bigger part in this film, but
she basically just stands at the edge, just going, "He's evil, he's evil." Yeah. Except when they needed like a crowd shot of like all the housewives muttering, and then she'd also be there. So
so basically they think his topiary's wonderful, and then a dog's just sitting there, and he kind of walks up to it, and then we see him doing his snip, 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 snip. You know, his business with the Elfman music. And then, so the dog's had this brilliant sort of, poodle haircut. It's a poodle haircut. Stupid, but it's a well done one. And then he starts doing the dogs around the neighborhood. And then finally the women go, have you ever cut a woman's hair? And he cuts Joyce's hair. And God almighty, that woman is on heat. She's writhing around while he's cutting her hair. And she says, that's the most sensual experience I've ever had in my life, or something like that. And then all the women start getting their haircut and these fancy haircuts. Yeah. There's some goofy haircuts, but they're kind of wonderful.
From that point, throughout the film, first off, Peg, the mother of the sort of family that took him in, her hair is always consistently shorter every scene.
I hadn't noticed that.
Every other housewife, their hair just looks like dog shit. Like it's bad.
They don't look good. I mean, ridiculously comedy, but like clown haircuts, right?
Yeah, there's one where the hair is just in a swan.
They all love it. That's the thing. Yeah. There's one who's almost basically got their hair cut down the middle and then there's two tufts on each side. I remember that. Yeah. Because it reminded me a bit of the Grinch, when he cuts the mayor's hair. It made me think of that. But yeah, they all love it. So he's in the good books of everyone. And then
Joyce suggests getting a salon. And tries to seduce him in the back rooms, and he just kind of wanders off when she tries.
Yeah, and she gets really annoyed because she's like getting a bit too carried away, and he just walks out. Right, he doesn't always. And goes and joins the family, and says, "Oh, where you been, Edward?" He goes, "Oh, I was in the salon with Joyce, and she took all her clothes off." And the kid kind of giggles. Tim is still not. Thinks he's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to talk about. There was another introduction that made me laugh after the bed thing, where Alan Arkin takes him down for a drink.
Yeah.
Downstairs.
They do like a weird, like, we'll never understand women sort of bit.
Yeah.
But then he just feeds him whiskey through a straw.
Yeah.
And he's like slurping.
It's almost like his machinery's broken, right? Because Peg brings Kim down and says, "Look, you haven't been properly introduced. We got off on the wrong foot. This is Kim." And Johnny Depp's like, it just falls on his face.
Yeah.
So Kim just thinks he's a weirdo, right?
There's also the very strange bit where he's drinking through a straw and there's slurping sounds. And then he stops and the slurping sounds just continue on for a bit.
Yeah.
Which I'm not even sure it's an audio bug or if it's just supposed to be Edward's inner workings just going ahead.
I think it's a reminder he's kind of some sort of automaton.
Yeah.
Not entirely human, right? So essentially then, what happens? Biff wants to break into his own house because his dad's locked him out of some rooms, and he talks Kim into it, who then talks Edward into it.
Edward just kind of wanders up as they're trying to get in the house.
But he does it because she asks him to, right?
Yeah, he just kind of puts his finger in the lock and it unlocks.
Oh, I thought that was her house that happened, didn't it? Oh, no, it wasn't him, since And then, basically, he stages a break-in of his father's locked room with Edward helping him. But Edward accidentally gets locked in there, and then Biff runs away. Kim saying, no, we've got to help him. It's your house. They won't charge you for breaking it. He goes, well, Dad will charge me. He goes, but we can't just leave it. Anyway, he physically picks her up and runs off with her, right?
Yeah.
To get her out of the area, despite her protests. So then Edward gets caught by the police, and he's holding his hands up, and the police say, "Drop your weapons," but of course they're his hands, so he can't really.
Yeah.
So then the entire neighborhood, apart from the family, sort of turn against him and starts saying horrible. Oh, he virtually raped Joyce and things like that, and all of that. And she's playing it out too. But the family is still sticking by him, even though he kind of starts getting almost like he starts getting distracted, doesn't he? At one point,
he like slashes
he doesn't
up
have
on
to
the
deal
walls
with
in the
it.
bathroom.
Yeah,
but they do make an interesting point of like it's like he literally has no basis for morality. Like he's not associated with any other people. He doesn't. He's not
and the dad actually explicitly tries to talk morality to him, doesn't he? Even though he is essentially good, but he's got no. I shouldn't be doing this compass, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he'd do anything like that if he wasn't directed to. You know what I mean? It occurred to me, and I think this might be a bit of a stretch. This is kind of a Jesus story or a messianic, and He turns up, he starts doing things that people love and people start thinking he's great, and then everyone turns, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, there's bits of that. It's not messianic, but it's kind of, a guy turns up from nowhere and people love him and then they don't, and he's being treated like a pariah from that point. And Edward's really cross at one point and starts destroying things. He cuts a leg off a topiary, and then one of the neighbour women sees him, so they're all going, "Oh, he's gone mad," and all this.
Yeah, he's
right. Then a little dog.
This is after basically Biff shows up. You're calling it Biff. Jim shows up, and while Edward's doing some ice sculpting.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about the ice sculpting. That was wonderful. Yeah, and I like the connection with snow, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we kind of skipped out, but there was like an old lady telling a story about why there's snow in the valley.
Yes.
So to her like granddaughter.
Yeah. That's how it opened. There's an opening and a closing with this old lady telling a story. A bit like Princess Bride or something like that.
Yeah. So Edward's doing this like ice sculpting, and of course it's kicking like small ice everywhere, so it looks like snow. And Winona Ryder's doing sort of like a sort of twirl in the snow.
And then she goes up
to Edward, and Biff comes up and goes, "Hey!" And Edward turns around, accidentally cuts her.
Yeah,
and that starts a whole fight, which results in Edward storming off. And
getting his arm cut as well, and all that. So there's a link between snow and again it's the nice Elfman music. It kind of did remind me of Batman Returns quite a bit. The snow stuff.
Well, it's the standard sort of Elfman music.
One thing we haven't mentioned is not much anyway. Johnny Depp's makeup. It made me laugh because his entire face is covered in scars, presumably because he's been cack-handed with his scissors. I mean, they use the scissor hands quite a bit.
He keeps accidentally slicing himself on the face in the film. So it's
at one point he saves the son, doesn't he? From I think is it Biff driving a van Wilder, or Jim. And he accidentally cuts the boy, which makes it look like he's attacking the boy. Whereas in fact he was saving him.
Yeah, so again, jumps on him and drags him off and starts chasing him. So
and everyone sort of says he was attacking Kevin, and So
when Kevin's parents check him, he's fine. His face is a bit scratched, but otherwise he's fine. So
so Edward's gone back to the old mansion. Which I should say throughout the film we get little inserts of Vincent Price as the kindly doctor talking to Edward, teaching him stuff, but also, explain where he came from and things like that. This man Vincent Price basically created him and is slowly improving him. We get quite a sad final scene between those.
Yeah. Where he shows Edward, who's like, this year, I'll give you an early Christmas present, and he opens a box and it's some regular hands.
Yeah, but then I didn't quite follow. He had a heart attack.
Seems to have a heart attack.
Which then made the hands go impaled on Edward's
drove the hands onto it.
Which wrecked the hands and also died, which then left Edward alone, which is why he's alone.
Yeah.
Mansion, right? So he goes to the mansion. Jim Kim goes there trying to find Edward, but Jim also goes there, but he gets a gun, right? Jim gets a gun.
Yeah.
And shooting, and he starts hitting him. Edward won't fight, but then he hits Kim, doesn't he? Jim hits Kim. She tries to stop the fight, but then he basically stabs Jim, and then falls back through a window and dies, which is quite a shock in this part of the film. Didn't expect anyone to die, really. And then Kim then says she loves him. I mean, her feelings have been developing because he says quite sweet things like, "What?" She says, "Why'd you do that?" And he says, "Because you asked me to." And it's a sweet. For example, there's a bit where he's on the TV, and there's all these questions like, "Oh, I think the moment of realization is Jim, Kevin, and Kim are watching Edward on the telly." And one of the questions is, "Have you got a sweetheart?" And Edward Scissorhands just looks down the camera, doesn't answer, and Kim kind of registers.
She's like, "Oh, that's me."
She realizes. Yes. She says she loves him, and they can never be together. Is the realization, and the neighbours are storming up the once. So she goes. She happens to find a spare glove. Scissorhand, and tells him to go hide. She tells them that Jim and Edward Scissorhands killed each other, and the roof has fallen in on him. Which means they leave him be. Which means he's always up in the castle, right?
Yeah, and then it rounds it off as like, well, we know he's still up there because now it always snows. And the grandmother goes, and sometimes I still dance out there.
Yeah,
it's like, it's her. It's
and the granddaughter says, "Why don't you go and see him?" She goes, "I'm an old lady now. I'd rather I remembered him as me when I was young." And all this, and then and it finishes. Quite a sweet film.
Yeah,
lightweight film.
Carving some really bad see-through plastic sculptures, like the one in the garden that was convincing. These ones are not. You can see the scene.
I kind of liked it though. There was some interesting elements. There's definitely Frankenstein is an influence, and that sort of German expressionism that fed it. Well, Universal generally, right?
It's a bit Creature from the Black Lagoon more than Frankenstein, really.
Yeah,
they took him out of his environment, and it's just chaos ensued.
That is a good point, I guess. And any other film like that where some creatures, King Kong or Godzilla, not Godzilla, because that's a different thing. That sort of thing. And I kind of see where it fits in. It's one of his most slight films, considering what Pee-wee, Beetlejuice, Batman Returns was all around this time. They're all very solid films. And this is okay. It's just not much of a story, right? It's just not much of a story.
Yeah.
And they cast various people: Tom Hanks, Gary Oldman, Tom Cruise, but a lot of them didn't quite get it. Oldman just didn't understand it at all. But apparently, they watched 2 minutes after he saw the film. Within 2 minutes, he totally got it. He goes, "Oh, I see what they were trying to do." Just like that. Apparently, William Downey Jr. was interested. Jim Carrey was considered interested. The screenwriter actually wanted John Cusack. Yeah, Michael, that would have been me. The screenwriter actually wanted John Cusack, which I kind of get, because John Cusack was in some great teen comedies, like Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer. Those are great films, great fun films from the 80s. But honestly, Depp nailed it. I think he delivered a great performance here. And it's interesting because there's lots of likes about this film, but ultimately it's a bit... doesn't go anywhere. It's such a slight story. It does go somewhere. There is a story. There is an arc, but it's really slow and
like for an hour and 45 minutes. Everything takes ages. Like
and it was great to see Vincent Price one last time.
It kind of almost steals the show a bit. So
he is.
So Vincent Price. Strange.
It's Vincent Price, right? So I get it. I liked a lot of the art design and everything. Any final thoughts, and we'll score this?
Nothing I can think of right now that
All
I
right,
already said.
Shall I score?
You go first.
Let me go. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, and I think it's closer to a 6 than an 8, frankly, for me.
Yeah.
But I quite liked it. It's not one I think I'll ever watch again. I maybe once. Yeah. But there's more. There's several Burton films I'd definitely watch before this. Most of anything before Planet of the Apes, I'd watch. Most of all the others before Planet of the Apes, I'd watch before this.
Yeah.
And a few after Planet of the Apes too. I like Sweeney Todd, for example. Really fun. I did like the fact Tom Jones kept popping up, and when you bear in mind he also pops up in Mars Attacks. Actually there in Mars Attacks. It's kind of funny. And you could. This is Tim Burton. This is almost pure Tim Burton. This film. That's one thing I said, which is fine. But you just felt it shares some similarities to Nightmare Before Christmas as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
there's bits of that. But yeah, I
kind of. There was a bit where I was thinking, it's like this is a lot like Nightmare on Elm Street. Especially the bit where he's running around. Yeah, he's running around with his arms like outstretched with his knife fingers.
Yeah, that's a good point. And of course, Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp's in that.
First victim or second, very early victim.
Yeah, one of the victims. So.
Well, in the first film. Okay, what would you score this?
I'd probably score this closer to a 5 or so.
Yeah,
that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just there wasn't much to it. Remember, zero is the worst, but the negatives are also fun to watch.
I have to say, I didn't feel particularly.
Yeah.
It wasn't, couldn't stop watching kind of stuff, was it? Some scenes were really good, and it was always interesting. What was going on was interesting, but it wasn't enough to. You didn't forget the world as you were watching it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It was like that. So, okay. I think we're about there. So, bye from me.
Bye.